You gonna see the screen from over there? There's the screen. Do you need a separate chair besides that uncomfortable couch? Yeah, you need a chair. You get her a chair.
I'll sit here.
Huh?
I'll sit here.
But you got some pains and aches and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
If I need, I will sit more.
Should we get you a chair?
I think
I think we'll get you a
chair
chair.
would be better.
Just say yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Because you were over there for a reason.
Yeah.
And I can put two and two together. Pain. Are you a neighbor to this home, or yes?
Yes.
And are you familiar at all with the topic of Queen Kunti? Because that's our topic for next few days. Queen Kunti? An introduction to Queen Kunti. A little introduction would be nice.
Sure.
Okay. Good. How far back should you go? Well, Queen Kunti was the mother of the Pandavas. So the Pandavas were 5 in number. The eldest one, Yudhisthira, then Bhima, then Arjuna, and Nakula and Sahadeva were twins. Kunti was their mother, and by transcendental arrangement, by divine arrangement, Kunti and the Pandavas were perpetually in difficulty, which is very strange in one sense, because they're dearly devoted to Krishna. So someone who's dearly devoted to Krishna, why they should be put again and again and again and again and again and yet again into difficulty? And the answer is, Krishna was making an arrangement that they loved, which was increasing their attachment for him. This shelter, that shelter, all other shelters were taken away. There was only one shelter. It strengthened their shelter taking. They already were perfect souls. But it's a pastime of Krishna to show how adversity can be an opportunity to take deeper shelter in Krishna. And not only the Pandavas and their mother, but their wife, Draupadi. Difficulty after difficulty after difficulty. There's a description. I'm addressing it just to give you a little picture of Kunti and the Pandavas. There's a book written by one of the followers of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is the one who gave this, propagating the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. So one of the principal followers was Sanatana Goswami. He lived in Vrindavan, and he was in the renounced order of life. Actually, he was more than the renounced order of life. He was living complete mendicant. And he wrote many books, empowered by Lord Chaitanya to write books elaborating on the topic of Krishna. So one of those books is a kind of commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. And in that, the title of the book is Brihat, which means big, Bhagavatamrita. Amrita means nectar, and Bhagavat is the topics of Krishna, Bhagavan. Brihat Bhagavatamrita is a nice title. It has 2 parts, and one of the parts, it's a quest literature. Narada Muni was requested by sages to determine who is the greatest recipient, the greatest recipient of the mercy of the Lord. That was his assignment. He accepted it. on behalf of the other sages. So it's a quest literature, who is and who isn't, went from individual to individual. He went to Prahlad Maharaj, pure devotee, said, no, no, no. I just remember Krishna. Go to Hanuman. He's always serving Krishna. And Hanuman says, no, no, no. I'm just a monkey and I'm disqualified this way. Go to the Pandavas. They're so dear to Krishna. So he went to Hastinapur. And when he got to Hastinapur, they were having a Pandava conference. It was the Pandavas and Kunti. And they were plotting and scheming what the next calamity would be. Because their experience was Krishna would come, take care of the calamity, and then he would leave. So they didn't want him to leave. So they're conspiring. What's a really good calamity? So Krishna will come. So the calamities in the Kunti and the Pandavas' lives were due to Krishna strengthening the shelter taking, exclusive, excluding all other shelters, only one, Krishna. That's one understanding of why that was going on. So there's a section in Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam rings a bell? Yes, a little bit? Okay. Prabhupada described, the translator of these books, described Bhagavad Gita as like undergraduate study. And the Bhagavatam is the graduate study. Everything that you need to know is in Bhagavad Gita. And then it's expanded and expanded and expanded in the graduate study. So Bhagavatam is the graduate study. And there are 12 cantos. All 12 cantos have commentaries, multiple acharyas commenting on Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's a very nice description in Canto. Of course, the story of the Pandavas and Kunti is much about it is in Mahabharata. There's more or additional in Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's a very nice section that this is a painting of in Canto 1, chapter number 8, because the scene that starts in the beginning of chapter 8 is the Kurukshetra battle is over. The Pandavas are victorious. There's a ceremony, the Rajasuya ceremony, whereby Yudhishthira is installed as the next emperor of the world. And it's a very interesting event because part of the event is the most distinguished person, that was grandfather Bhishma, was asked to make the declaration before all the assembled devotees, who is the greatest personality in the assembly? It's just part of the procedure of Rajasuya. Of course, Yudhishthira is going to become the king, but there are many, many persons attending the event. And Bhishma is called upon. Everyone looks up to Bhishma, grandfather Bhishma, by age and by wisdom and everything. He's the one that can answer that question. So immediately he turns to Krishna and describes in so many ways how Krishna is the greatest. There's one person in the assembly that didn't like it. Shishupal. Shishupal was a cousin, but he was extremely envious and inimical. And he let grandfather Bhishma finish, but when grandfather Bhishma finished, he stood up. And thundering voice started vilifying Krishna. Bhima grabbed his club. Arjuna grabbed his bow. Krishna said, no, let him continue. Because there was a pledge that Krishna had made to Shishupal's mother that although Shishupal was such a nasty fellow, he wouldn't harm him until in 100 times he vilified the Vaishnavas. So when 100th time came, Krishna raised his Sudarshan chakra and separated the speaking part from the rest of his body. And Shishupal's soul rose in the air. Everyone could see bright light, and his soul entered into Krishna's body. He achieved Sayuja Mukti. And everyone was, wow. Some time passed. Yudhishthira is now the king. And it's time for Krishna to return back to Dwarka. He came for the purpose of the battle. He came for the purpose of installing Yudhishthira, making everything in good order again, a virtuous king, instead of the diabolical rule of Kauravas, headed by Duryodhana, wicked person. So it's time to go. So there he is, seated on the chariot, with Daruka, his chariot driver, ready to take off. And you see the mass of people in the painting. There, it's in the public square in Hastinapur. Kunti, being Queen Kunti, she has privileges. She weaved her way through the crowd, went right before Krishna's chariot, and offered beautiful prayers. No, she did everything but say, please don't go. But she said, please don't go, in other words. But so it's glorification of Krishna and her appreciation of the mysteries surrounding Krishna and his activities. Particularly mysterious are Krishna's activities in Vrindavan. His activities with Mother Jasoda, she speaks about, because Kunti is also a mother. She understands the motherly mood that a mother might have for the child. She has that, they're like her son, because her sons are almost the same age as Krishna. So Krishna's like her son in age. But she looks up to him as the supreme person, whereas Mother Jasoda didn't look up to him as the supreme person. She saw him differently, her small child. With that kind of affection, and the kind of affection, for example, it's in the prayers, but the kind of affection that Yasoda has for Krishna, she can't understand it. And the kind of love that Krishna has for Mother Jasoda, she can't understand that even more. So it's in these prayers. She's going through mystery after mystery after mystery. While describing the mystery, she's revealing, she has a very profound understanding, but she's holding the position as if she's not understanding. But she discloses things through her prayers that are profound mysteries. So she's very humble, and she's appealing, essentially, please don't go. The storyline is, the punchline is, when she finished, Krishna's smiling like anything, but he's ready to go. And then Yudhishthira comes, because it was the Rajasuya Yagya, and he's now the king, and the king requests Krishna stay a while longer. So Krishna says yes. And then after a little while longer, Krishna goes back to Dwarka. There's one very nice thing in these prayers, we'll get there, but just a little advanced preview. She has sons, and she knows that her sons are going to feel very much the pain of separation when Krishna leaves, as she will. And on the other hand, Kunti has relatives from her father's side that live in Dwarka, and her relatives from the father's side are right now feeling separation from Krishna. So if Krishna leaves, their feelings of separation will be mitigated. But the feelings of separation for her sons will accelerate. So she's torn with affection between her father's family and her own family, her sons. So she prays, it's really nice, please remove the material portion of my affection for both sides, leaving just the spiritual portion of my affection for both sides. She's asking for pure devotion. She has it. She's asking as if she doesn't. She's her prayers themselves are mysterious, and she's dealing with many mysteries and seeming contradictions in Krishna's behavior, Krishna's speech, Krishna's relationships with others. So that's a little background on Kunti and her prayers. So there's some devotees in Chicago. Some of you may know Sri Rupa. She made a recording of Kunti's prayers, and it's in a chorus. So the first one that's going to be, we're going to hear them sing, then we can respond. It's the Bhagavad Gita invocation. So let's see if technology works. Then you can repeat. Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta. Translation, oh my dear Krishna. Oh. Hey Krishna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Namostute. Oh my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. The painting at one time is one of the cover paintings for the book Teachings of Queen Kunti. The painting is meant to illustrate she's by the side of the river Ganges, because one of the prayers is she's praying that just as the river Ganges flows forever downstream, similarly let my mind flow forever towards you. Poetic. So there's the same painting again, and you'll note, it's really easy to see it, very prominent in her mood is the mood of humility. She makes some emphasis in that mood of humility. There's a significant distinction between bhakti and gyan, because by gyan one can't know Krishna, but by bhakti one can know Krishna. So she has humility as if she has no bhakti, but she's perfect bhakta. In these first verses, she speaks of this curtain of Maya, Javanika. And he, Krishna, is covered by this curtain of Maya. And because of that, when one hears or sees or tries to contemplate Krishna, it's bewildering because it's inconceivable. It's beyond our mind's capacity to conceive of, therefore inconceivable. And at the same time, Krishna protects those who have Krishna as their only shelter. I'm going to put in big letters, you'll see this a couple of times. There are statements in her prayers where she sees there's contradictions, and those contradictions bewilder her. And she's being very clear about what it is that bewilders her. But the answer is the curtain of Maya has bewildered her or anyone else. So here's the first of her prayers, and we'll allow it to run its course. After each prayer, pause, because the recording also pauses, otherwise you'll mess up, to say the chorus.
Kunti uvacha namasye purusham tvatyam Ishwaram prakrite param alaksham sarvabhutanam antarbahiravastitam namasye purusham
Satvayam Isharam prakrite param alaksham sarvabhutanam antarbahir avastitam.
Kunti uvacha namasye purusham tvatyam Ishwaram prakrite param alaksham sarvabhutanam antarbahiravastitam namasye purusham tvatyam Ishwaram prakrite param alaksham sarvabhutanam antarbahiravastitam.
O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all, which seems like a contradiction. He's within everything, he's without everything, and yet he's invisible. So this is a nice painting. This is Krishna at the top, existing above the cloud of material energy and that vastness of the spiritual sky, above the cloud of the material energy, the Mahatattva. There, in the painting, there's innumerable planets, Vaikuntha planets. In one small corner of the spiritual sky, there's a cloud. Within that cloud, Mahavishnu reclines, and from the body of Mahavishnu come so many universes, countless numbers of universes, etc., etc., etc. So Krishna is the source of Mahavishnu, and therefore he's also the source of the material universes, and Krishna is the source of the spiritual planets as well. So he's the source of everything, and yet he's unaffected by everything. He's not controlled by that which comes from him. He's the controller of that which comes from him and remains unaffected by it. That's one mystery. And then the second mystery in this verse, he's within everything and outside of everything, and yet he remains invisible. He's all pervasive. So the painting shows Mahavishnu, and if you look a little closely, you can see of the so many universes, within each of the universes, Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So far that's two Vishnus. Mahavishnu, and within each universe, Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And then a further expansion within the heart of every jiva within all those universes, and even within every atom of all those universes, another Vishnu form expands. This is the all-pervasive Vishnu, as the Supersoul or Paramatma. Shirodakshay Vishnu. He's everywhere. Just like when Hiranyakashipu was asking his son Prahlad, "You're a worshipper of Vishnu. Where is he? I'll finish him." And Prahlad's answer was honest. He said, "He's everywhere." He's everywhere. Is he in this pillar? He's in the pillar. He's everywhere. Let him save you. Smash. Lord Nrsimhadev come out of the pillar because he's everywhere. No, he doesn't have to come from a pillar. He can come from anywhere or everywhere because he's everywhere. But to the non-devotee, or the one who's covered by this curtain of Maya, he can't be seen. To appreciate the message of text 18, here's a very nice commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in our disciplic line. He lived around the early 1700s. He writes, commentary, "I offer my respects to you, the Supreme Person, the Original One, the Controller, beyond the control of Prakriti, unseen by material senses and existing inside and outside of all living beings." Further commentary, understanding everything that Krishna had done recently, Kunti was unable to tolerate the agitation caused by the great respect that arose in her heart. Thus she began praising Krishna. So, as mentioned already, she's a mother, and her sons are the 5 Pandavas, and the Pandavas are very close, especially Arjuna, very close in age to Krishna. So Krishna is like her son in age. And she has affection like a mother has for sons towards Krishna. At the same time, there's a conflict in her heart because she understands he's not just her sons. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She has both emotions, motherly affection and reverential affection. And they're conflicting in her heart. So there's feeling great respect, having seen what she saw, because the chronology of this is after the Kurukshetra battle, and then during the Rajasuya Yagya, we heard this before you came in, Shishupal was blaspheming Krishna, and Krishna gave liberation to Shishupal by severing his head, and the soul of Shishupal hovered in the air for a few moments and then entered into Krishna's body. She saw many displays of Krishna's power that are not worldly. She's understanding more from first-hand experience of his divinity. But she has this other emotion, the motherly affection. It's natural. So she's conflicted. And as she's praising, Krishna might be saying, "But I'm your nephew. Why are you offering me respects? But you are the Supreme Lord, Purusham. Of course I'm a man, Purusham. There's no doubt about that. Yes, but you're the first one, Adyam Purusham. Well, all bodies come and go. All souls are original. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur enjoying taking the text of Kunti and savoring its message. To that, Kunti, but you are supreme, Ishvara. Well, in Swarga, Indra and the moon god, and on earth the kings are Ishwaras. But you are superior to Prakriti. Am I the Purusha within, Paramatma? No, you're imperceptible, alaksham. The Paramatma is subject to revelation by the use of intelligence and other means. Am I the imperceptible Brahman? No, you are situated internally and externally. He's just enjoying taking the Sanskrit words and illuminating the dialogue between Kunti and Krishna. From her prayers, Alaksham Sarvabhutanam, this is directly the verse that we chanted together, Antar Bahir Avastatam. Krishna, you reside both inside and outside of everything. Yet, the unintelligent conditioned soul cannot see you. Therefore, we have Bhagavad Gita to help us through the eyes of Scripture, Shastra, Chakshus, we can see what otherwise the eyes can't see. Now, some people don't have the capacity to immerse themselves in Shastra, so they can't see. When you point, it's right over there. Where? Right over there. No, I don't see it. Because you have to see through the eyes of Shastra. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead through Jnana Chakshusha, eyes of knowledge. He who opens these eyes of knowledge is called the spiritual master. Bhagavad Gita. Then we're going to hear more as she goes forward, this curtain of Yogamaya, and thus ordinary people can't understand him because of the curtain of Yogamaya. So that's quickly the first of Kunti's prayers. We're going to go on to the next one, 19. There's this Javanika, if you remember from the beginning part, the curtain of Maya.
Maya Javanika Chandam Agyadokshajamavyayam Nalakshase Mudhadrisha Nato Natyadharo Yatha
Maya Javanika Kshanam Agyano Saujam Avyayam Lalakshe Modharsha Natona.
Maya Javanika Chandam Agyadokshajamavyayam Nalakshase Mudhadrisha Nato Natyadharo Yatha
Maya Javanika Chanam Agyano Sajam Avyayam Lalakshase Mudhadrisha Nato. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor, covered by the curtain of diluting energy. We touched on this term before. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Here's some actors dressed as players, showing some other face than their own face. and growling supposedly on stage. And this is the nature of Maya. Maya is a potency. One of Krishna's potencies is Maya Shakti. And if you look closely at the painting, there she is. And Maya Shakti is working through three modes of nature. Can you see the screen? So there in the center, by the chest of Maya, is the three deities presiding over the three modes of material nature. Lord Vishnu is in the front. Over on our left is Lord Brahma with four heads. On our right is Lord Shiva. And those are the three modes: goodness, passion, ignorance. So Maya works through those three modes, or the three modes are assisting Maya to cover the living entity. It's the illusory power of Krishna, or Maya Shakti. Sometimes Maya Shakti is described like this. Supposing you see a coiled rope, but it may look like the rope is a snake, because there's a snake moving, but there's no, ropes don't move. It may appear to be a snake. Similarly, there's a very nice pastime that helps me understand the relationship between Krishna's internal potency and Krishna's external potency, Maya. They both are Maya, Atma Maya and Mahamaya. As you probably know, this is a painting of the gopis during the most cold month in Vrindavan, the winter month, January. Very, very, very cold. It's getting there right now. It's mid-December. And then it gets to be really cold. So there's a particular vrata called the Katyayani vrata that young girls would sometimes do. And that is, before the sun would come up, they'd go to the Jamuna, in the icy cold water of the Jamuna, take their morning bath, and come to the shore after cleansing their body in the Jamuna water, and worship a deity of Katyayani. Now, who's Katyayani? Katyayani is one of the names of Durga. If you remember, on Krishna Janmashtami, when Kamsa tried to kill the eighth child of Devaki, but it was a girl, because it was Yogamaya. You with me? Krishna instructed from the seventh child was Balaram. Krishna called Yogamaya. Yes, some service. Three things. In the womb of Devaki is Balaram. I'd like you to transfer him from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. Don't worry, he's heavy. But you can do it, because I'll give you the potency to do it. That's service number one. Service number two. You take birth in the womb of Yashoda, as I'll take birth as the eighth child of Devaki. And on the very night that I take birth, you'll also take birth from the womb of Yashoda. And I'm going to arrange for Vasudeva, the father, to carry me to the other side of the river Jamuna and place me by the side of Yashoda and bring you back to the prison. And Kamsa is going to try to kill you. But don't worry. You're my Yogamaya potency. He won't be able to kill you. Don't worry. And here's the third service. After he's unable to kill you, you become situated in various places throughout the land, known by different names, and one of those names is Katyayani. So who's Katyayani? Katyayani is a name of Durga, or the Mahamaya potency of the Supreme Lord, who is but an expansion or reflection of Yogamaya. Should I do it again? I'll do it again. Yogamaya means the internal pastime potency of Krishna. Krishna gave her 3 services. And the third one was when Kamsa is unable to kill you, because he picked the girl up by her legs and was ready to smash her on a rock. He was a bad guy. And she flew out of his hands. And she then showed the form of Durga and laughed at him in a hideous voice. And then she disappeared and spread herself throughout the land. So that's Durga, known by different names, and one of those different names is Katyayani. So Katyayani, when they're worshipping Katyayani, ostensibly a young girl may want to get married to a qualified husband at some point in their life, and so they worship Katyayani to get a good husband. It's a procedure, a vrata for 1 month. So they did that. But they were little village girls. So they couldn't afford a deity. So what did they do? They fashioned a deity out of the mud from the base or the bottom of the river Jamuna. They made a mud deity, and they decorated the mud deity looking like this. And then they went to take their bath after worshipping Katyayani. So this is where Krishna came and he stole the garments of the gopis as celebrated pastime, because he knew they wanted him as their husband. So he agreed in principle. Here's a description about this Katyayani Vrata that's found in 10th Canto, Chapter 22. Each of the young unmarried girls performed her worship while chanting the following mantra. O Goddess Katyayani, O great potency of the Lord, O possessor of great mystic power and mighty controller of all, please make the son of Nanda Maharaj my husband. I offer my obeisances unto you. Now our acharyas say Goddess Katyayani can't do that. So they, in effect, were worshipping Yogamaya. Yogamaya can do that because one is the reflection, and the other is original from which the reflection comes. So they were worshipping Yogamaya, and lo and behold, they married Krishna. Now where's that pastime narrated? That pastime is narrated in a very amazing literature by Rupa Goswami. And it's too long of a story to tell, but you might want to read it someday. He describes how each of the gopis ended up being the princesses that were kidnapped by... Who kidnapped them? So, they're Bhaumasura, or Narakasura, known by both names. He, according to Rupa Goswami in his writings, he has Purnamasi say this, he just made it up that it was princesses, but it wasn't princesses. It was the gopis of Vrindavan, and he kidnapped them and put them in jail, and Krishna ended up marrying them. 16,000. And then 16,100. And then there was the 8, which are described otherwise, but the 16,100, they married Krishna. Haribol. According to Rupa Goswami's Lalita Madhava. So they did this worship, and it completely non-envious. Here's a bunch of young girls in unison chanting the same thing, all saying, I want Krishna as my husband. And the one next to him is saying, I want Krishna as my husband. The one next to him is saying, they all want the same thing. And how many girls are going to marry Krishna? But they weren't envious. That's not going to happen in this world. It's not going to happen. But it happened in Vrindavan, because the gopis were completely free from those material feelings of envy. There's lots of commentary on this. I'll read. According to various acharyas, the goddess Durga mentioned in this verse is not the illusory energy of Krishna called Maya, but rather the internal potency of the Lord, known as Yogamaya. I mentioned this. The distinction between the internal and external or illusory potency of the Lord is described in Narada Pancharatra, in a conversation between Shruti and Vidya. Must have been a very elevated conversation. Shruti and Vidya. You know who Shruti is, right? The Vedas are Shrutis. Vedas are Shrutis. And Vidya means knowledge. So they're personified, Shruti and Vidya having a conversation. And it goes like this. The Lord's inferior potency, known as Durga, is dedicated to his loving service. Being the Lord's potency, the inferior energy is none different from him. There is another superior potency whose form is on the same spiritual level as that of God himself. Simply by scientifically understanding this supreme potency, one can immediately achieve the supreme soul of all souls, who is the Lord of all lords. There is no other process to achieve him. That supreme potency of the Lord is known as Gokuleshwari, or the goddess of Gokula. Her nature is to be completely absorbed in love of God, and through her one can easily obtain the primeval God, the Lord of all that be. The internal potency of the Lord has a covering potency known as Mahamaya, who rules the material world. In fact, she bewilders the entire universe, and thus everyone within the universe falsely identifies himself with the material body. And then there's the internal potency, and moved by the internal potency, that's the young gopis. They have only one thing, and that's the love of Radha for Krishna. So they love Krishna also, but they especially love the love that Radha has for Krishna. And many of them, they're just dedicated. There's different groups of gopis. There are different ways of understanding the groups of the gopis. Some gopis, they're fixed on the happiness of Krishna. Some gopis are fixed on the happiness of Radha, being in her loving exchanges with Krishna. They're different, vanilla and strawberry and raspberry, different flavors. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, writing his commentary on this second verse, I do not know you covered by the screen of Maya, beyond the knowledge of the material senses, and unaffected, just as the puppeteer behind the screen moving the puppets is not understood by the eyes of the ignorant. So here's a violinist, but he's not really the violinist, he's a puppet. But the puppeteer knows how to make the violinist play the violin. It's not the violinist, it's just a puppet. But he's playing the violin. And similarly, we look at the material energy moving, and it looks like the material energy is moving without someone behind it moving it. But there's someone behind it moving it. And who's that someone behind it that's moving it? It's the prakriti, or material nature, is moved by the adhyaksha of the Supreme Lord, Maya jakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. You know the verse? Hetu nana nikonteya jagat viparivartate. Bhagavad Gita. Adyaksha means to see. And by Krishna seeing, the material energy moves. He doesn't even have to have a puppet strings. He just has to see. And it's like remote control. Like, people that, many devotees these days, they have this thing in their car. You driving in the driveway, the car door opens, the garage door opens. It's like, it's some animated thing where there's a spaceship and it's coming in to take shelter in some other bigger spaceship, and this door opens and he zooms in and the door closes. And I've seen some of those, not too many, but there's somebody pushing the button. If you have some machine like that, so this energy is machine. Yantra Rodhani Mayaya. Yantra means machine. Yantra means machine. And the machine is made of the material energy. And the material energy is moving by Krishna's seeing it. He doesn't need to do this with strings. Just adyaksha. Ayadjakshena prakriti. Suyate sa characharam, the moving and non-moving living entities. Even the table, or trees, or things that don't seem to have mobility. They're under his direction also. Everything. He's everywhere. But that's not understood. The point is, Vishwanath is saying, it's not understood by ordinary people. Further, since internally you protected the child in the womb of Uttara, and externally you protect us by being near, saying, should I understand that you are all-pervading? I do not know. Because he, Krishna, gave protection to Maharaj Parikshit within the womb of Uttara. You know this? No? Uttara was pregnant. And Ashvatthama wanted to annihilate. He killed all the sons of the Pandavas, Ashvatthama, and then he wanted to kill the unborn son of Uttara. So he sent a Brahmastra to kill the child within the womb of Uttara, so that there'll be no more descendants of the Pandavas. He's the posthumous child, Maharaj Parikshit. So Uttara came running to Krishna, Krishna, protect, not me, protect the child in my womb. So what did Krishna do? He did. From the soul within the womb of Uttara, he manifested his Paramatma feature, and with his own potency he countered the Brahmastra that was to kill the child in Uttara's womb. That's this illustration. And the Brahmastra is a heat weapon. It scorches everything and everything till it's dead. So he protected the child within the womb of Uttara, and they're experiencing, Kunti's experiencing, she and the Pandavas are being protected by Krishna from without. So is it not correct that you're both inside and outside of everything? You're covered by the curtain, Javanika, of Maya. Then Krishna might say, then Maya covers me? She replies, it is like the fool who thinks that the sun is covered by a cloud. I see you as covered because my vision is covered by Maya. because you are beyond sense knowledge, adhoksajam. Aksaja means to see, and adhokshaja is beyond the power of the senses to perceive. So that's Krishna. You're beyond my senses to perceive you. Sense knowledge, akshajam jnanam, is situated below you because you're adha, you're above it. I do not have the power to contact you, since my knowledge arises from my senses, like the knowledge of a fool. But even if despicable people like me do not know you, there's no loss for you. You remain unaffected by this. So there's a nice photograph of a solar eclipse. And behind the cloud, there's something in between, probably the moon, and on the other side is the sun, so you can't see the sun when there's an eclipse. So Krishna might say, in response to Kunti, this is Vishwanath, is playing with the language. But you see me directly and praise me. You know that I'm beyond Prakriti, then why do you criticize yourself as being ignorant? It's a good question. Though the dancer is endowed with the rhythms and dance steps suitable to the rasa, the ignorant spectator, ignorant of the scripture's delineating performance, sees only a dancer dancing. Though he sees, he does not really see. Similarly, though I see you, I really do not see you. The word tata, I don't know much Sanskrit, but I like this. Whenever I see yata tata, it's a metaphor. Like this, so that. Something unknown is illuminated by something known. Like this, so it's like that, tata. The word tata similarly should be understood from the context. Though you protect the Pandavas, your devotees, since you are the soul within all of us constantly, you personally counteracted a weapon of Ashvatthama meant for killing the Pandavas. Though you promised not to use weapons, you took up a weapon. Though you protect the righteous, you had Bhishma and other righteous persons destroyed. Though you are most affectionate to Draupadi and Subhadra, you let their sons be killed. I do not know the truth about your pastimes. And that is, he has this inconceivable curtain of Maya, and once again, these apparent, there are explanations for all of these things, but the apparent appearance is, it's all contradictory. And contradictory qualities are reconciled by Krishna because he's the source of everything. And one can't understand him except through bhakti. And otherwise it remains contradictory, however advanced in gyan or speculative knowledge one might be. Kunti, is taking the role as if she's like a gyani that speculates on things. But she doesn't. She's speaking in this way of humility, but she has devotion that's incomparable for most worldly people. But we're going to continue. This is last for this evening. When she looks up to Mother Yasoda, she's bewildered by Mother Yasoda's love and how Krishna deals with Mother Yasoda's love. And he cries. And then she reasons. If you're just play acting and just crying, oh, boo-hoo, I'm supposed to cry now, I'm an actor on the stage, boo-hoo. Okay, I can understand that. But it's real tears. You're afraid of that little stick in Mother Yasoda's hand. You could destroy the whole universe, and you're afraid of that little stick in Mother Yasoda's hand. I'm bewildered, and you cry. I can't understand you, and I can't understand the love of Mother Yasoda. Her prayers are filled with revelations about truths of Krishna, and she's saying them from the position of humility, as if she's bewildered by these things. And our acharyas help us get unbewildered because they explain things so nicely. All this is happening, in short, all this is happening through the agency of his internal potency, and his internal potency is beyond our inspection. We can't see it. We can't, it's moving things, but we can't see it moving things. We see things move. And it's bewildering to us because we're used to material cause and material effect of material cause. Cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. And then there's things that happen, there's no apparent cause. I'll share one thing and I'm going to end. Just before coming here, I was in central New Jersey, and we had a japa retreat. And one of the devotees that was attending the japa retreat were discussing about the holy name and the incredible power of the holy name. And he told a story. His name is, I think it's okay to say, his name is Devaki Nandan. He's a very senior devotee from Mumbai. And he described when he was young, his father had a medical condition that suddenly just plummeted. And they brought in a doctor, and the doctor said his blood sugar has gone so low, he has to immediately go to the hospital. So he was panicking. The son was panicking. The father was unconscious. And they got him in a car and drove as quickly as they could, safely and quickly as they could. And he said, I was chanting, not screaming, but at the top of my lungs, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because I didn't know what to do. I'm not a doctor, and the doctors were saying, going, gone. And if the whole ride, Bombay traffic isn't light, and so it took a while to get to the hospital. And when he got to the hospital, the doctors immediately whisked him into the emergency room, and they measured his blood sugar, and he was dead. Clinically, you die when your blood sugar goes below a certain point. It was below that point. He's clinically dead, or certain to be dead. And all of a sudden, in the emergency room, his blood sugar started to rise. And it got almost to normal. And Devaki Nandan said, the doctors said, this is a miracle. In my years of medical practice, I've never seen anything like this. What did you do? Because the doctors told us that before he brought him to the emergency room, this was the sugar levels. And it was down and down and down. And when we got here, it was at the bottom. Now it's back up. And he said to them, if I told you, I don't know if you'd believe me. It's just, it for him, it helped him have extraordinary faith in the power of chanting the holy name. Now, if Krishna wants to reveal his mercy, because he was saying, who am I? I was just a beginner, but I had faith in the holy name, and something happened. So what happened? That Krishna doesn't need a reason to bestow his mercy. If he wants to bestow his mercy, he can bestow his mercy. You don't have to be, a Shuddha Bhakta. You can be Madhyama Bhakta. With faith, Krishna can show his mercy. No restriction on Krishna's side. So Kunti is speaking as if she's a materialistic person, or at best a jnani, a speculator. And from my power of speculation, I can't understand this and I can't understand that. And there's more coming up. She has very clear understanding of what's what. Sambandha Gyan. These are features of Krishna. She understands them. She certainly understands about bhakti. She's not a new lady coming around the temple. She's Queen Kunti. She has profound understanding, but she's speaking as if she doesn't. And her mood is complete dependence, not just to understand not otherwise understandable things. That's called mercy, to understand those things. But the mercy comes through bhakti. But she has these emotions going on at the same time also. This is her son's best friend. Think of those of you that have children. If you have a son or a daughter, and their best friend. At the same time, she knows he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's within everything and outside of everything, and yet she can't see him as he really is. And what to speak of everybody else. She's in this very interesting, complex situation, making it really simple. The glories of Krishna are being portrayed in her prayer. So we'll carry on next evening and so on. Her prayers aren't too long, but they're really packed. See if there's some discussion. Quarter to 8.
So Guru Maharaj, Kunti is certainly very inspirational and also relatable, being a mother, wife. So two questions. So one is, like you said, like she is very knowledgeable, speaking all her realizations about the position of Supreme Personality of Godhead. I was just curious, where did she have like a guru, or like where did she learn about?
Well, Vyasadeva is their guru, is the Pandava's guru. And when they had doubts, they went to him. Like, what to do with this Draupadi situation. They went to Vyas. He said, no problem. And he gave the explanation why. He was their guru. Now, exactly what form and shape, and did he sit down and give them Bhagavatam classes or something? He was their guru, however he did it.
The second part is more practical application. So, so she seems to be in a position where she's seeing the apparent contradictions.
Yes.
At the same time, she's able to go beyond that.
Yes.
And depend on Krishna.
Yes.
In our stage, when devotees go through the challenging situation, right? Like, we understand that the immediate next step is continue to depend on Krishna, but seems like a big hurdle to.
Yeah.
So if you could just shed some more light on.
Well, it's incremental. Here's several things. How many lifetimes have each one of in its room been through engaging in something that's of the nature of, transcendental piety and some degree of transcendental piety? Who can say? Take your son and daughter. Who can say what, their previous life or lives, what were they? Something. And they're, because of that something, they've been born in a devotee family getting training in the ways that they're getting training. In character and scripture and etc. So it's like the rising of the sun. It's progressive. And how long will it take? In response to your question, there's Kunti, and she had the wherewithal inside to do what you're supposed to do, and we don't always have that wherewithal. We don't have that bhakti shakti. So what happens? Then we're in this unsteady state, anishtita bhakti. And sometimes not, and sometimes not. Unsteady. And then we're making choices in that unsteady, sometimes not state. We're not just being pushed by our past, that past guna and karma may be there, and our past vasanas or impressions of devotional practice may also they're still there. And the goal is to go beyond all of that. And it may take a while. And we do as best we can. Don't whine and complain that I'm not there yet. We do the best we can. Except this is my situation. How can I make the next step? And some people are further along. After many lifetimes, their spiritual trajectory is here. And some are there. And some are down there. That's okay. We're in it together. Let us help one another and assist one another and continue ourselves to make further progress. So what to do is depends on your capacity, and you can say the maturity of your faith. One way, I like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur a lot. In Madhurya Kandamani is one of his books. And he's describing the 9 stages of bhakti, not the 9 processes of bhakti, but the stages of bhakti in Madhurya Kandamani. And one of the things he states, very simple, one sentence, one way of looking at the stages of bhakti is the stages of faith. Because it starts with faith and ends in faith. So there's stages of faith, and depending upon the stage, that's going to determine how we're going to respond to conflicting situations or obstacles or hardships or challenges or the negative stuff. The world is full of good fortune, ill fortune, full of duality. But as we were talking about the Pandavas, the ill fortune turns out to be special mercy, because Krishna's ready. When they turn to him, he's there. So why did he put Draupadi in the situation where she was in? I mean, it's horrible. In a public assembly, and Grandfather Bhishma said nothing. She turned to them and said, "Please speak up." He said nothing. He's powerful. He knows what's dharma and adharma, and he said nothing. And Dushasana is a very powerful warrior, trying to strip her naked in the public assembly. So she with her trying to restrain him, but he's more powerful. Hey Krishna, hey Govinda, that did it. So, what are we going to do when circumstances are beyond our being able to do anything to counter the circumstances? Even when we're countering the circumstances, there should be with dependence on Krishna. So it's a lesson learning. Life is a lesson learning experience in the world of duality. It's not a nice place. What to do according to your capacity. And it's going to go up and down. The sine curve. Anishtita bhakti. Okay. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
You have something online, huh?
Yes.
Because you look like you're reading it.
How do we answer people who say God knows everything? Why does he need us to pray to him?
Relationship. It's the the prayer element is communication and heart opening. Let's say, there's a small child and something happened and the child starts to cry and they go to mother or father and they're looking for solace, and the mother or father is going to say, "What happened?" Even if they know what happened. Okay. It's just a relationship. Take that and, why do we do anything? Why do we do this? When we're having kirtan, why do we, Krishna knows, so we don't have to do this. There's benefits in being a sannyasi. One of those is being in places where you don't know the language, I don't know the culture. China is one of those places. And I can't have somebody with me in the departure lounge because they, So, vivid memory. One time we were in a departure lounge waiting for the flight. And one small child started screaming. And there are other mothers that tried to comfort the small child because the child was screaming. The screaming got louder. It didn't, pacify the child. And as soon as the mother came, because he had gone to use the bathroom or something and came back, immediately, and then she's in the mother's arms, and everything's okay. So what does that mean? It's universal. You have any child didn't have any language. You just did this. Everybody, even a non-mother knows what that means. Just shelter. So that's the reason for prayer. It's a communication of opening one's heart and shelter taking, and the reciprocation from Krishna for whatever it is that he already knows, that you convey to him. It's a loving relationship with the all-knowing. Anything else? Ramananda, you got something? You're still formulating it.
No, it is clear. Gopis, and then also the 16,100 and queens. So they were the expansions.
Yes.
Okay.
It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's a whole section in Chaitanya Charitamrita glorifying Radharani. And Krishnadas Kaviraj makes a statement and the commentary elaborates. Radharani is the source of the queens, the gopis, and all goddesses of fortune. The Lakshmis and Vaikuntha. She's the source. From her, they all are expansions. And there's different modes amongst all those expansions, but she's the source. Internal potency expanding unlimitedly in different moods. Yes.
In case of Mother Yashoda, love was fully covered with a parental mood. And here in Queen Kunti's case, it is cleared parental's mood and also the beyond that
Yes.
too. So
Well, not beyond that, but in contrast to.
correct. So how to think?
Mixed rasas.
Okay.
Nectar devotion. Mixed rasas doesn't mean contaminated. Mixed rasas means sometimes this is predominant, sometimes that predominant, sometimes something else is predominant. Pure with diversity within the pure. That's Kunti.
I was saying time, place, and circumstances.
It would say it even differently. Within Krishna is everything. So everything means everything. So sometimes it's this, and sometimes it's that, and sometimes it's... So it's reciprocation of the fulfillment of happiness of Krishna, which includes everything. And so some have... It's just it's a relationship, it's a loving relationship. Okay? Anything else? This is the perfect size room for the number of guests, especially in the getting cold weather. It's nice and warm and comfortable here. Well, you didn't even hear the class, and you got a question? Huh?
So I have a question, Maharaj, that you said gopis at Vrindavan, they didn't have the envy.
They didn't have envy.
Envy. It's so nice to hear that pastime. So how can we also get to that level of not
Were
having
you
the envy?
upstairs? Where did you hear this?
I was hearing
In the car.
in the car.
Oh, okay, okay. The benefits of technology. Sometimes there's benefits. Well, the answer is pure bhakti. So you ask your question differently. How does one come to the stage of pure bhakti? And the pure bhakti is attained by following the process of pure bhakti. So anyabi lashatashunyam jnana karma jnanabratam anukulyena krishna anushilanam. That's how you do it. And then you can take that and unpack it and just read Nectar of Devotion, and that's what you do. You follow sadhana bhakti properly. Let me ask your daughter. Does she follow sadhana bhakti properly? Okay. Honest. You just have her monitor you and you can do it better. I'm just joking. Okay. You set a nice example. And then all the others at your age, they'll go, wow. Your mom will go, double wow. How's that? That's a high bar, too high? Should we make it lower? Is this a good one? Okay. And if you have questions, like how do you do it, like your mom just asked, just go to Nectar of Devotion. And as you go further and further and further, and you read it again, then things will start to become clear. And when it's clear, then you have to apply it. And that's what devotee association is for, to help us be reminded when we become a little forgetful. By good association, you can be reminded all the time. Okay, looks like we're done. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki Jai.